What is up, YouTube? Tonight, we got a very special first guest. Hopefully have many more guests on tonight. I sent out a bunch of invite emails, but I got a very awesome and amazing package in the mail the other day. And in it were pieces of quasi-crystal, like models of quasi-crystals with certain ways that they fit together in combination with all these other shapes. And boy, are these things fun to play with, and they only fit together certain ways. And I've been dying to show these off since I got them, and I finally got permission from the maker to show them off. And I'm going to show you guys where you can buy the pieces so you can 3D print your own. You know, these faces, all these different, they only fit together certain ways, but you can see just the general. These are the two big shapes, and then there's a smaller shape like this. There's 4 different like distinct pieces, and they fit together in very weird ways to tile the whole plane. And it's going to be awesome when people can actually meet the guy who made these, and I'm going to bring him on right now. Simon, welcome. And we got in the background here is a website and a page where people can go and actually buy. They can download the models. They can pay to download the ones you made.
Yeah, so it comes both in STEP and STL files. So I made a version specifically for FDM. That's what Jeremy's holding. I do have the first resin prints of it in my hands right now. They're much smoother and nicer. It's arguable whether it's better or not, but the files are different because I hollowed out the resin ones and they have drainage holes in the holes where the magnets go. And that's really going to be the main cost other than the magnets themselves, because it does add up pretty fast. It's 4 magnets per face. The smallest one has 6, then it's 12, 20, and 30 side. So 30 is 120 magnets. So it's not a cheap project by any means. But if you're studying quasi-crystals, it's hard not to do better than,
Yeah, no, this is the best conceptual model that you could use to if you wanted to study just the innate, have like a display model for your classroom. A professor would justify the investment, especially at some of these top universities where they have just millions of dollars to pay towards school props and stuff. I'm sure you can you should email this out to science departments and professors and math departments. I think this is going to be your top client for a teaching tool for the classroom for
in terms of production cost, so like I got was it 130 magnets for $10 Canadian. So like I said, it's not cheap, but you only have to make it once, and then it's good for ever as long as you don't shatter them. But they're pretty sturdy. Even the resin ones, they're pretty thick. So I don't think, unless you're like deliberately trying to break them, they should be pretty good to last. Ideally, you'd want them to all be different colors as illustrated there, but yeah, for the sake of expediency, they're all printed out of the same PLA, and you don't need anything fancy. If you want to use silk PLA, you'll probably be able to get away with it. I do recommend putting a little drop of glue either under or over the magnets just to keep them in place. Hypothetically, you could just spray paint them. It should be fine. So these are made for the 4 millimeter diameter by 2 millimeter thick model magnets. So they're very available. It's the stuff that you see all the time for like Warhammer or whatever models.
Heck yeah. So there's the Cults 3D. You can look up magnetic quasi-crystals on thecults3d.com and get all the STLs and make your own. And what size neodymiums are these, and where do they buy those?
The 4 millimeter diameter by 2 millimeter thick. And just until the end of the month, as an introductory bonus, I'm giving it 25% off. So if you're an early bird, you get a little bonus.
So, like these D4 by 2 millimeter Amazon.
Yep, just
Babies.
that kind of deal. Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
need to be super strong. They hold together pretty well. As you keep adding more of them, they just keep interlocking, and because it really does not want to lock in if it's not the correct orientation, because there are 3 different faces. So there's one with an arrow, there's one with a line, and there's one with a triangle, and they can only mate with the same face. So if you try to mate them with the wrong one, they just won't. And they'll actually repel. And it's kind of fun. I had an experiment where I just put them all in a bin and I just shook it around, and it started forming really like large, complicated structures on its own, basically. It's almost self-assembling. It's very addictive to play
Really?
with. I'm half happy that it's in your hands now because I don't lose all my time playing with them.
There. It's. I want all the different. I want the different colors, man. You got to have it because it's easier to visualize when they're all different colors. I think that is the key to them. This is a cool conceptual model just to show off for and I know you put a lot of time into this, but this is just the beginning. And I want to send this video to some toy companies so that they can check out this new product, and we can talk about getting these in the hands of professors in physics departments everywhere.
And just to be clear, I didn't invent it whole cloth. This is based off of some other things that people have made. There are some paper cutouts that you can make if you want. There's an injection molded one that was made many, many years ago, but it doesn't use magnets. It uses just little clasps that just grab onto each other. So it's not as satisfying, because they'll just snap into place like on their own. As soon as you get it close, it just wants to hold on. So it's really satisfying, and it kind of mimics the way that I believe they function in real life
Yeah.
as they're
Well, this
assembling.
is right. So this comes the puzzle piece then for people to build 1,000 of these and put them in a big tank and then shake it around and see what comes out and
Yeah,
just
so
do a video of it.
the 6-sided one, these ones generally come in groups of 5 that you'll see in a little flower arrangement, either all the little triangles touching together or all the line pieces touching together. And then they are also used as like the in-between piece between the other ones, and they just kind of hold it all together. So these ones are kind of like the glue of the crystal. It's really fun to play with. I can't overstate how addictive they are.
Yeah, no, I can't tell you how much I was disappointed that they're not different colors and that I don't have 1,000 of them.
Well, I didn't want to paint them before I sent them to you, just because I was afraid that it was going to make the faces a little bit harder to read. But yeah, so I'll let you do that on your end,
Yeah,
and you can choose whichever colors suit your mood. I don't know if you want them purple or whatever.
I'll paint them. Yeah,
Yeah, if you want your Fedorov, I don't know, magenta or something, go for it.
I'm gonna go ahead. How much is the files? US $10.
Yeah, so like I said, it's 25% off just as an introductory bonus until the end of the month. So after that, it goes up to, what was it, almost 14 US? Yeah, so it's not that
I
expensive, like in the like totality of how much time and effort and materials go into it. So I'm just an independent guy. I'm not like some big mega corp, and this is really just an educational thing. So I'm not expecting to make too much money off of it. It's really just I hope
The
people.
hardest part you said in assembly is putting the actual magnets into the
Oh
holes,
yeah,
right, in the right
yeah. If
order
you
and
have
getting it right.
if you have students or interns, yeah, get them to do it.
I would suggest that there's some kind of jig you could build with a detector on there that like an indicator that kind of just lets you know which polarity you got.
I might
You
make
could,
a little assembly jig where it's just the faces with one magnet, so you can just pop one in each and then just press it in with an arbor press or something. But until then, I'm doing it the stupid way and pressing them in one at a time.
so you can get
Uh,
this film. Arbor Scientific sells it. Probably the best stuff on the market. But if you put a magnet or anything magnetic up to the film, it kind of shows on the film. So you could cut little pieces, cut a piece of this for just the face of the jig. That way, it will kind of tell you like by black or white whether you got like the north or magnetic field, and you kind of like have like a printout of what the arrangement is for the different.
I have a
Um,
little magnetic pole detector. I don't know if you can hear it. Yeah, so that's the South Pole, and it'll make a different noise if I put it at the North Pole with a little light
Yeah,
on
that
the thing.
takes too much time though
It's
for
like,
manufacturing. If we whereas you're
oh yeah,
assembling,
yeah, yeah. Well,
if it
that's why you test the jig for assembly, and then yeah, I guess this would be good for just checking to see if the final assembly is good as a QC. But honestly, the way I just did is that I took two parts and I put them together, and if I don't have the magnets right, I'll feel it. Like just there's the tactile feel of one of them pushing back, or two of them pushing back, or three of them pushing back. You know, it really
yeah.
does not want to assemble wrong, and it's surprisingly strong.
Yeah, no, I can feel it when I'm playing around with it myself too. That they're definitely it wants to go only that way. And it's cool how some of them are like the lines aren't unidirection aren't directional, but the arrows and then the triangles ones that's different than the arrow. Those are both directional um facets. Even though every facet on there is a golden rhombus, it's the same shape. They have different matching rules. So
Yeah. And it
um,
tiles the volume perfectly with no voids, and that's really what's required for it to be considered a quasi-crystal. So these things are super weird, which is why I made the models, which was not a fun task. These were a bit of a pain to make, to be honest.
yeah, the heart. I guess if that's what I'm saying, you build a jig that has this detector right in it. You can just throw them. You can assemble the magnet easier, and it might be helpful with robotics and AI. I mean, I'm sure that these other manufacturers over, if you could find a manufacturer to really mass produce these things, they're gonna figure out a way to you know, they're not gonna have kids in a factory somewhere.
Well, if
Putting,
anyone's interested in producing them commercially, definitely give me a call. Send me an email, something. Just
yeah. What's your
contact
email?
me. Well, there's my Ko-fi that's linked in there. If you go to if you just scroll up on that page, or actually no, right there, click on Simon Claire, and it should have my Ko-fi on there.
Oh yeah, your contact. Whoops.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. If you click on the donate page there, that'll bring you to.
contact.
Yeah, there you go.
Write your
Right.
message here. Right. Will you see this?
Yeah, you could send that, or you can click on the donate button there. That'll bring me to the Ko-fi, and that also has the page if you want to request some custom 3D models, because that is the thing I do.
Oh, I
Uh,
need to sign in. If I don't want to make a mess, how do we contact you by email?
SimonClaire@gmail.com. You can put that on the screen if you want, I guess.
Simon Claire.
Uh, yeah, no space.
You damn Canadians at Gmail.
Yeah. So if you want to contact me for the commercial thing, but no spam, please, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to make you throw it out there like
No,
that.
no, no worries. I just hope the audience is appreciative of the work. Like I said, it's
Yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna just spam you or mess with you on purpose. I hope not, because you're not involved in any of the other shenanigans we're gonna get into tonight. You're just a quasi crystal guy making 3D prints, trying to
Yeah, I'm just trying to help people learn so that we can get more cool technologies and materials and stuff out of this, because ultimately that's what this is all for, so that we can have a less shitty world. And I hope people get into it. Like I said, I'm not planning on making a whole bunch of money off of this. That's why I just put a little thing like that. I'm not going to put a patent on it or something.
Yeah, that's cool. Because I was like, "Good, are you sure you want me to show this off and open? This is a good idea, and you can, like, someone's gonna jump on this potentially." But I guess
I
it's
mean, there's a lot of people that are just going to be priced out if I do that. If you're in, like, I don't know, Latin America or Eastern Europe or something, you're probably not going to have the funds to buy some fancy injection molded thing from, some small place. So if you can 3D print it yourself and you have the time to press in and glue all the magnets, then, go have at it. There's no reason that the amount of money that you currently have should hold you back.
Yeah, yeah, and especially these universities, that you got some of this wealth and stuff. Share it with the younger generation and get some cool toys, and this helps promote us and the channel. And I'm
That said,
sure
we
Simon's
call
gonna.
them toys, but just to be clear, these are not child safe. You don't want children playing with little tiny magnets that can get
No, no, no,
dislodged.
that could
And
fall
yeah,
out. This thing breaks, and the kids eat the magnets.
I
That'd be
did
bad.
soften all the corners, so as long as your prints are good quality, you shouldn't cut yourself or anything on them. But yeah, just to be sure, just putting it out there. Don't hand these to your
Yeah.
toddler.
Don't make them out of razor sharp metal, and give them to kids. Okay. Um,
We take seriously
that would be bad.
safety. It's very.
It's a very serious issue. I mean, your kids could get hurt and cut and swallow magnets and have their intestines pinned together and have to have
That's
really
right.
complex and difficult surgery to remove them. I mean, there's no like pill you can take for that. It's like, dude, there's magnets stuck together inside your intestines from two different sides.
So unless your kid is getting a PhD, it's probably not for them.
Yeah, really. Yeah, unless they're really advanced math.
Yeah, unless they're into like physics and engineering and stuff, and like basically already taking college courses. Yeah, no. Everybody matures differently, but
Yeah,
just
people
put it
like
out there.
it's kind of
If
a
they put
select
things
thing.
in their
Maybe like
mouth,
a
definitely
college
don't hand it to them.
crystallography course, a college crystals class.
Yeah.
But this
So,
would be great for a project for Veritasium or one of these other big channels to make a million of these things and do
oh yeah,
the
oh
shape
yeah.
experiment.
I definitely think he would enjoy having these. I made these because you initially were talking about them, so ultimately blame Jeremy if you don't like these. Okay, it's his fault. um, but yeah, so
Did you actually build these from the 3D model that I got from Casey Hanmer?
no. This is because you were talking a lot about quasi-crystals and
So you
tiling
just
and
built
stuff.
these on your own?
Well, I think it's you that shared the PDF. I don't know if you want to show that.
Or the
Like I
STL?
mentioned earlier, the guy who was making the ones out of paper and the other injection molded ones. Yeah, so like I said, this is not whole cloth. This is all based on other things. All I did was I made it magnetic and 3D printed. So not huge departure, but I sent it to you via email in response to the invite. If you want to check it.
Guy on MI, it wasn't the Paul Steinhardt. That's who it was. Yeah, Steinhardt. It's got all the geometries right here, and this document's got everything. The Paul Steinhardt is definitely the one. He shows like the math, the geometrical derivation and everything.
I think the one that I was looking at specifically is by Keith Enevoldson in 2021. Quasi-crystal blocks, description and cut and fold instructions. So, like, if you're wondering where the symbols come from, they're just modifications of that one. Like the triangle is just on one side for the sake of not being in the way of the magnets.
Oh yeah. I remember this one. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what I based it off of. And again, it's just because you were talking a lot about quasicrystals, and it's very hard to describe if you don't have a physical model. And when you do have it, it just kind of snaps together in your head, same way that they
This is
do.
again Paul Steinhardt who worked with the guy for this too. So it's all Paul Steinhardt's the man. You know what? I would love to interview Paul. I should have sent him a CC on this. I didn't know that you'd be the only one jumping on so far. Um, I'm trying to get more guests, and it's going to be a live call-in show if none of the other guests jump on. I know Dan was out in the audience, and he was going to jump on here, and we were going to get into some UFOs shenanigans next because this is UFO state of ufology night. But again, this is Quasi-crystals is of course related to ufology because of Ed Fouché. Again, I don't know why I have this guy up. I was just catching up with Danny Jones's latest and some of that stuff. I could set a lot of this disinfo straight. The gist of this interview here was the idea, like, I don't know if you've ever seen the X-Files with nobody knows anything, right? I don't know, with this weird, they had this X-Files episode with this very strange character, and he talks about it in there where it's, I don't know, it's just this idea that they spread so much disinformation and they spread and they lie, and everyone's, all, they have all these different people that are actually working for them to spread disinformation, and they're all in the public sphere calling each other disinformation agents, that nobody knows the truth anymore, and no one will ever be able to figure it out or know who to trust or anything ever again. And that's true to a certain extent, but we've really tried to use science here to separate all that stuff out. And one of the things is Ed Fouché in 1998 had this presentation. It's been shared a lot of other places, but again, the full 1998 presentation of Edgar Fouché on the TR3B. And this 1998 presentation has this talk of quasi-crystals in it. He says out at Area 51, he was introduced to quasi-crystals and that it was a big part of the research that they were doing out there. And he said, if you want to know how the UFOs fly and how they get from here to there, the warp machine ones, he said it's the quasi-crystals. And he said he wouldn't say anything more than that. And it's weird that I found out about this stuff in early 2000s and made videos on it, which is crazy that I have like videos on my channel that are like 16 years old talking about quasi-crystals when I was first learning about them.
Hey, the refraction patterns you get out of them are really gorgeous. I don't know if people really like look at that aspect much, but just as an art piece alone, it's worth looking at.
Well, the thing that's funny about them is that Daniel Schechtman discovered them and has this whole started writing the papers on them early on, and the scientific community's response, the top scientists in the world, like at the time, commented, there are no such thing as quasi crystals, just quasi scientists.
Well, because they would never, poo poo an idea and then just quietly research it in the back themselves, right? They would never do that. That's never been a thing.
Right. Yeah, Linus Pauling, really. It just goes to show you what Linus Pauling was got to be involved in some kind of you think he was legitimate, just a stubborn scientist who was just rejecting new ideas because he's just old and a crusty old curmudgeon, or you think there could be some kind of conspiracy there? um I don't know. They're Washington, Nobel Peace Prize did get
If
the
there
Nobel
are,
Prize.
important practical uses for it, then yeah, they might do the whole, state secret thing just like they did with Manhattan Project.
It's possible. They might have came in and just said something to him about it, said like, listen, you can't do it. But then why did they let it leak out anyway? Because Dan Sheckman, of course, did his postdoc at Wright-Patterson. You look at his look at his history. He graduates with from Tel Aviv. No, he's born in Tel Aviv. He goes to Technion, Israel Institute of Technology. It's basically MIT of Israel. And here we have MIT on East Coast and Caltech on the West Coast, or like top technical schools in the country. Um, follow well, not top, but they're the top in certain fields. There's different technical schools that do deal with different things, like but if you want to learn, obviously if you want to learn mining, right, you're going to go to New Mexico Tech rather than MIT or Caltech, right? Or if you want to get into certain technologies, you want to go to different
Well,
colleges. If you
Israel
want to get,
has a lot in like microcontrollers, right?
but
So,
Israel's got it all. I mean, Israel's top of the game. They're publishing tons of stuff. They have so much great stuff comes out of Israel, man, and the scientists there, you can't diss it. Despite all the bad, the bombing of children and killing of children and all the horrible things that go on in that country, you can't.
theocracy things.
It's the people that aren't, these guys aren't involved in all that. They're too busy doing real research and real science. You can't get the kind of results that these guys have gotten without dedicating your life to science.
Oh, actual scientists and engineers don't go in government generally.
Yeah, or military. They don't mess around with any of that stuff. So just because they're from Israel, or they were married in Israel, or born in Israel, or lived in Israel, doesn't mean that they are Mossad, and that they are intelligence, or any of these other affiliations. You
No,
have
not
to.
everybody is inherently compromised based off where they're from. It's the same with China, and not everybody from China is going to be a spy. Like let's
Right, or
yeah.
Russia.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Or like if I move to the U.S., you're not just going to assume I'm a Canadian spy, right? Or am I? No, I'm joking.
I know Trudeau up there, man. You never
Oh,
know.
thank God he's out. Just same as the old boss.
Yeah, I don't want to even, the whole thing with Canada too, because I just one of my favorite products that I use is made in Canada for my business and stuff. And it's like, now, like with the tariffs, it's like, what's going on here, man? The price on everything's just going to go up, continue to go up, if we don't get that, these issues fixed. And then if I go to Canada, I can't drink American whiskey anymore, and it's like, what am I going to do?
Well, I mean, at least we have Canadian whiskey, so you're not going to be completely up the creek.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to go with some Grand Royale, right? Or uh,
Personally, it's the maple bourbon.
the maple syrup. There's one maple syrup one I had one time. It tasted like wet dog. I was like, never again. And I don't know.
Oh, well, I'm from Quebec, so we have
You
maple
get the good
everything.
stuff. You probably get the good stuff.
Oh yeah, we have the
Straight
good
from
stuff.
straight from the source. It's none of that.
I've actually had sap straight from the tree. So yeah.
Yeah, I like single malt Scotch and rye whiskey if I do occasionally partake. But yeah, it's been a while. It is my birthday soon, so maybe I will do that. Anyways, at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is where, at Aerospace Research Labs, Schechtman was an NRC fellow, right? The NRC is the National Research Council, which is basically an operating arm of 3 academies for the purpose of providing objective policy advice. Although separately chartered, it falls legally under the overall charter of the National Academy of Sciences, whose ultimate fiduciary body is the NAS Council. In actual practice, the NAS Council delegates governing authority to a governing board of the National Research Council that is chaired jointly by the presidents of the three academies. That's a whole lot of saying nothing. Come on, man. What is this written by machines? Dude, this is garbage. Division of Engineering and Physical Sciences, Health and Medical Division, Policy and Global Affairs Division, Transportation Research Board, and the Gulf Research Program. Okay, so there's 7 major divisions. This is interesting because NRC, which is really the NAS, which sounds a lot like NSA when you get into these acronyms, and I wonder if it's, of course, not corrected to what the NSA does. I don't know. That's
It's always alphabet soup.
comparison.
I mean, it's the same thing with everything in the U.S. Like how the U.S. military, everything is M1, M2, M3, M4. So you can
Right.
have an M1 with an M1 with an M1 with an M1 with an M1, and you don't know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I guess so. Just how they try to organize it to make it, easier, but it's just more crazy. Anyways,
I don't know. It seems
units of
deliberately complex
division,
to me.
units of division on engineering and physical sciences. Okay, so they got an Air Force Studies Board, an Aeronautics and Space Engineering Board, the board on Army. So we got to get all these boards on board, man. Where the heck are these boards? They got a Naval Studies Board, a Space Studies Board, Laboratory Assessments Board, National Materials and Manufacturing Board, Intelligence Community Studies Board, Computer Science and Telecommunications Board, Board on Physics and Astronomy, Board on Mathematical Sciences and Analytics, a Board on Infrastructure and Constructed Environment, the Constructed Environment. Okay, so just constructed. Okay, just any kidding. Does that mean like construction, basically? Board on Energy and Environmental Systems. Wow, but there's some interesting studies that probably take place under these boards, engineering and physics. God, I wonder what, this is what we got to be FOIAing. Has anyone done FOIAs on this stuff and gone under this? There's got to be some kind of UFO or alien studies under one of these agencies. It's got to be another UFO program. We know that Elizondo didn't run the only one. And we now know that he didn't run one at all, that he just basically made up ATIP, and that the real program was this OSAP program, and that ATIP never existed. He literally manufactured and faked all the paperwork to prove that this agency existed, and then they tried pushing this whole threat narrative.
Fake it till you make it, right?
Man, he made it real big. He was on GQ and everything, but he definitely had a hidden hand and hidden push. And a lot of bad stuff has happened for Lou Elizondo this week. He has taken a real bad hit after finally after years and years of effort. We had the big phone home. Lou Angeles is in shambles right now. All the work he put in dedication. He thought he was going to be a big UFO celebrity and have a big UFO channel, and make it big in this whole UFO disclosure game that was being led, and all the stuff that was going on in the field. Lou Elizondo was in the mix, and we were going to get these people in front of Congress so that we could get real UFO disclosure, right? And Lou finally, the point man of the supposed head of the Pentagon UFO program, the guy who knows all the stuff about all the stuff. And he's given several of these paid presentations. I went to one in Boston here, and on March 10th, and he was not impressive. Even to my wife said, I know more about UFOs than this guy has said. And that's not just because she hangs out with me. It's just from her
I think that
general
might help.
research. Just from general research. But he presented this at another paid conference. He didn't, he presented a lot of crazy warp bubble stuff. not a lot of real like hard physics or real based physics.
Nothing actionable,
Yeah, the
basically.
stuff in his book either was like really it was off base and a little bit wrong. And you know, this the kind of stuff that you'd expect from a guy who's just trying to fake it in a lot of this stuff. But then he gets in front of Congress, and he could have brought out so much stuff that he's probably collected over the years, or I don't know if he's just not smart enough to put it together. But why, the guy has tons of pilots with videos and pictures and everything he's collected over the years. I mean, he collected this Adams project that he put together. We know that he collected all kinds of UFO materials, right? With the Adam project, they went around and collected metamaterials and pieces of UFOs. And Chris Bledsoe says that he took a piece of metamaterial off of him, and that he's never seen it or heard from it again. It just
Well, let
went
me
into
put
a
it this
black
way.
hole.
Actual whistleblowers, generally, they don't stay in the country. They leave. Because if they stay, they die. They don't get put on, daytime
So
television,
where are
on
these
Fox
guys?
News,
Yeah,
or on.
exactly. Well,
Yeah.
this is the best the intelligence. So that, I mean, Lou Elizondo, here's him with FBI agent Robert Mueller. Okay. Why is he with the head of the FBI who basically covered up 9/11? And then we find out from Lou Elizondo's past that Lou was head of the Pentagon. Yeah, you have to be careful what you say, Lou. There might be a lot of charges soon against you. This is crazy. What's found? What came out in the last week? I mean, it was in his book Imminent, right? Um, we know that from his book Imminent, he was part of this RDI program, which is the Enhanced Interrogation Program at Guantanamo Bay. And they have this at Guantanamo Bay because it has the lax laws on torture of any country in the world, right? And so they brought them there, and they have this whole program at Guantanamo for that reason. And they bring in this guy. Where does Lou and who is Lou and how did he get into this whole operation? We come to find out is that, well, Lou's father was in the Bay of Pigs invasion and like worked for the CIA in Cuba as like an anti-Castro like operative, as like this clandestine operative. And Lou grew up in this military environment where he could be called into like war and duty at any time, because of who his dad was. They might have to like run or move around. And that's the kind of like military upbringing that he had. And so he went into the military himself when he came of age. And they put him in charge of some really interesting stuff that we still don't really quite know about. He moved around a lot, did a lot of intelligence operations, and then, before 9/11, he disappeared for 3 years, and there's no record of what he did and anywhere on his resume or what went on. And then after 9/11, he was moved to work on bioterrorism stuff, like bio warfare kind of stuff.
Wasn't
And then
that during the anthrax scare?
during the anthrax scare, yeah.
Yeah, I
So
remember that was all over the news. They wouldn't stop talking about it at the time.
So that was covered up. They covered up that the anthrax was made at a U.S. lab by U.S. scientists and given to senators in order to scare them off a new investigation, which the Bush administration then postponed for like 441 days before they actually started an investigation after 9/11. It was like over a year after which they actually started to investigate it after they had already sent the Afghanistan invasion and started wars over it. Did they decide that we're going to actually have an investigation into what happened and all this stuff? And so Lou gets put in charge of these five detainees that they've captured who are related to this Al Qaeda cell that they say are responsible for 9/11. And they need confessions out of these five guys. So they put Lou in charge with this enhanced interrogation program, and they hooked him up with Hal Puthoff and got a bunch of these like psychotronic weapons. And basically, he tortured, these people at Guantanamo with these weapons until the point that they gave confessions. They did a lot of
Because
other.
torture is definitely how you get confessions, like legitimate confessions.
Yeah, they
Definitely
do it.
not fabricated ones.
So now we totally know that those guys were responsible for 9/11 because Lou said so, and Lou's work got the truth out of them, right? And we can totally trust Lou with that. And then they selected him because of such good work for the country. They needed someone who, with his kind of background to look into UFOs for them, right? And so this is the guy that they then put in charge of the head of the UFO program for the government for a number of years. And then he's now the guy to bring out the truth to us publicly, and that's who that's who we're now finding out Lou Elizondo is, behind the mask, behind all the bravado and the I was in the war and fought to held General Mathis down in Iraq. No, you were doing counter and a lot of other shady stuff, including torturing people, human beings, and the weapons that you're now using on the American people, and what you've done here is in violation of the Geneva Convention. It's in violation of several laws and acts. And
It's actually pretty easy to counter, though. Well, all you need is a cube corner reflector, and you can make that with 3 sheets of aluminum or sheet metal, whatever, as long as it's conductive, that you weld at a 90-degree angle from each other. And then you just point the opening towards whatever the source is, and they get to fry themselves.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Those weapons, the psychotronic weapons and stuff.
Yeah, if it's a maser, all you need is 3 sheets of metal. Actually, you could do it with one that's cut and bent properly, but realistically, if you have 3, it's
I
just
shouldn't. Yeah, if I just have one of those, I'll carry it in my back. I'll carry it on my back everywhere.
As long as the opening is larger than the wavelength of the weapon being used, then you should be good. So you just need a really, really big suit of armor.
Right? I'll just wear it to work every day. They won't think I'm weird or nothing.
A giant tower shield or something. I don't know.
Oh man. They already think I'm weird enough with my Gandalf hat talking about freaking UFOs. What's
Silly
up, audience?
only.
What's up, live chat? Anyone want to jump on here with me and Simon? It's now time. It's 4. I want to stop at the top of the hour, so we got 15 minutes left. Anyone wants to jump in, I'm going to officially drop the link for the StreamYard. Dropping the link for the StreamYard. Here it goes, guys. Oh my God. Do not have a microphone and a picture, and you're going to prove that you're not a bot.
Well, the chat is asking about the corner reflector. Could you just pop a YouTube video of a cube corner reflector? Because it's really not that complicated technology. You can make it.
Yeah, what is this cube corner reflector?
So this is, well, it's a retro reflector. So it's the same kind of thing that they put on the moon, where you can shine a laser on the surface, measure the amount of time it takes for the laser to travel there and back, and then say, okay, well, if light's traveling this speed, then it's this distance away from us at this moment. So you can make one for microwaves just with any conductive metal. So if you have aluminum or stainless steel or something, you should be able to just assemble it.
Well, I'm going to try to share this with audio. This explain what it is, or is this kit?
So that's an optical one, but it functions the same way, because ultimately, microwaves are just light outside of a frequency they can see.
So this is a cube corner reflector with
so if you do
metal.
microwave, you should be able to get a good yeah, I see it right at the top there. Give me a second.
All right.
Yeah, so this is with light, so it's a little bit easier to illustrate.
This video is sponsored by NordVPN.
It works with
if you look up close at a bicycle reflector, you'll see this sort of hexagonal pattern.
Oh, yeah,
it
these
warps
things,
and
yeah.
changes into other things
Very
as
cool.
you tilt it. And there's a really clever reason for the geometry that you see here. The purpose of a bicycle reflector is to make you more visible to car drivers. And one way to do that passively is to reflect more of the light that falls upon you. And if that's what you're trying to do, then maybe just cover yourself in lots of tiny mirrors, like a human mirror ball, because mirrors are really reflective. The problem is, mirrors work in this really predictable way. The angle of incidence always equals the angle of reflection. In other words, you don't have much control over where the reflected light goes. What you really want is for most of the light being reflected off you to end up in the eyes of the car driver. So how do you achieve that? Well, if you take two hinged mirrors and set them at 90 degrees to each other like this, or a quarter tau radians, then when I shine a laser into these two mirrors, the returning beam is always at exactly the same angle as the incoming beam. It doesn't matter how I change the angle of the incoming laser beam.
Brilliant.
The outgoing beam will always match that angle. I could put together a geometric proof to show that it's always true for any angle, or for the purposes of this video, I could just do what I like to call a proof by, look, there you go, doing it.
In it.
You may have spotted that this only really works in two
Experiments are
dimensions.
so
because
much
look,
easier.
if I tilt the laser pointer
but where's
in
your
this
proof,
direction,
man?
actually it doesn't work
My
anymore.
proof.
The returning laser beam is not at the same angle as the incoming laser beam.
There might be one angle.
For this extra dimension, I need a third mirror that is perpendicular to the first two, like this. And see, now it doesn't matter what angle I point the laser at these three mirrors, it will always come out at the same angle that it went in. This geometry that you end up with is the corner of a cube. See, so this is called a corner cube reflector, and it's an example of a retroreflector, which is just any reflector that sends light back in the same direction that it came from. And you can achieve this with a prism as well, like this. So light goes in through that front surface, and the rear surface has these three perpendicular faces. It's the corner of a cube. So the light that comes in bounces around on those three surfaces, comes back out in the same direction that it went in. On this prism, those three back surfaces have been coated with copper to make it more reflective, but it would mostly work just by total internal reflection. And that's the working principle behind bicycle reflectors. I've taken the back off this one so you can see what's going on the underside. Actually, it's still not that easy to understand through the camera, but look, if I spray paint it, hopefully that makes it a bit clearer. Can you see all those spikes in the shape of the corner of a cube? So it's just like the backside of this thing, except it's tessellated to fill up the space. We've actually put reflectors like this on the surface of the moon, and we use the travel time of laser light to figure out how far away it is. Like, is it slowly creeping up on us in the daytime?
Okay, those are actually cones on the moon.
So think about the light coming from the headlamps of a car. It shines.
Yeah, we've talked about the moon experiment. Measure distance to the moon. They use the laser lunar reflector.
So that one, instead of using the cube's corner, it uses a cone, but ultimately it's the same thing.
Where's the lunar reflector?
Did you hear it, Jeremy, saying about how they say it may move, that they measure to see if it moves during the day? Like something's operating it.
Yeah. So this
that's
was
what I got. That's what I got out of what he was saying.
Well, the orbit is elliptical, so it does change distance pretty dramatically, which is why you get what's called a supermoon, where it looks bigger because it's just physically closer.
Smallen.
Oh, I understand that. It was the way he said that. He said that it seemed ominous.
I mean, he's just joking. He's British, so he's going to have a weird sense of humor.
So Smallen.
Well, you have to have a weird sense of humor to be in the shit we're in. So
I don't know how you remember all these names just off the top of your head. I just gotta say I don't know how you do it. I forget everything.
Giorgio Fiocco. These guys built this tray, which of course this is a human footprint in regards to this tray. It was a big part of the lunar missions to put this reflector out and then get it calibrated and pointed directly at the Earth, so it would shine at the Earth, like towards the Earth. Well, it didn't really have to get it calibrated because I guess it's going to reflect it back no matter what angle you shine at this thing. So all they need to do is hit this with the laser beam from pretty much any angle, and it's gonna send a signal back, right?
I used to be skeptical of that, and then they went to Hawaii and did it, and it was proven that the thing it came right back. It was absolutely amazing. I don't know if you ever seen that. I forget what television show that was, but it came right back. It was absolutely amazing. Couldn't believe it.
You need a really strong laser to do it, though.
Yeah.
You need
Oh,
a
this thing.
really clean, straight beam, because like the lasers that we use for laser cutters, for instance, it's not actually a cylinder. It's
Mhm.
more like
Yeah.
two cones that are touching tips, and we cut with the specific point where it's touching.
Biggest thing is light pollution too. You've got to have a clear sky, and these places in Hawaii. The ocean is above where they fly out there, so you don't have light pollution coming up from buildings in New York and all that stuff like that. You have just pure, nice, clean, dark. I don't know. It's not even light, and you just shine that laser beam over there, and it comes back. They move it a little bit; it'll move another way.
Could you
Um,
imagine
I
getting?
was blown away because I thought it was bullshit. I'll be honest with you. I was one of the moon deniers for a long time. I really was.
The moon denier. All right, we got some
Yeah.
other.
Hey there.
Aaron Earthling and Jeremiah just joined the open chat. What is up, guys?
Oh, that Jeremiah guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
How you doing, bro?
Good, buddy. Where's he at? Oh, there he is. Hey, Jeremiah.
So what are we on right now? Sorry, we just got off the other stream.
Simon C.
We were on these reflectors and talking about the types of reflectors with how the three mirrors and the optics.
Oh,
of
the phase conjugate reflectors?
We're on a
It's
bit of
kinda
a
like a phase
metamaterial
conjugate,
tangent.
Oh, sweet. Yes, the phase conjugate mirrors. Those are fascinating.
Yeah, so it's the same idea.
Wouldn't you think the sun have had an effect on those after all these years, though? Or is that not something?
No, well, that's because it's phase conjugation, right? Like it's actually reflecting the proper reflection. So, it's like the best example was when Jeremy showed that example with the laser, right? Like with the imaging
thing?
Yeah, the hologram thing. Yeah, that was great. Like it literally straightened out all the photons so that it would look like a perfect image. Yeah, like it's built into its construct. It's fascinating. It's like a default in its own design.
It's beyond fascinating because it's proof we were there or somebody was there and put it there.
It's true.
Yeah,
Maybe another. Wouldn't that be something if it came out that another spaceship put it there and they pretend we put it there, and they dropped it? They dropped the
all right,
the landing module at, like, I don't know, 50,000 feet, and then just went out and picked it up out in the ocean in a boat. I mean, it could have been faked easily, but if we had spaceship technology back then, which some say we do, some say we don't.
All right, then maybe some say the Nazis had it and that they moved to Argentina and Hitler lived down there and developed it out in Antarctica.
Make sure you send Jeremiah a link because
I'm doing that right now. I'm emailing it to him.
Yeah, because I think he might have got dropped.
No, he's got the link. If he got here, he's got the link.
No, yeah, that was because
on his phone. I'm emailing it to him so he can join from his computer.
Oh, yeah. Sweet. Well, yeah, the idea again, this is the idea behind the phase conjugate mirror too. Is exactly what you said. Is this on the quantum level? It's like three mirrors at 90-degree angles, so like a million of them that are all reflecting the image back. That's kind of
a perfect image instead of a reverse image.
Right.
Like you can actually read the label on your shirt instead of having it in reverse.
And Jeremy, what would you always use, a laser to to get your reflection straight.
Oh wait, okay. I'm gonna show this this
This
video.
optical.
Yeah, this is the best one. I love it.
Oh, this one's great.
I know.
We can't hear it, Jeremy, or at least I can't.
It's just music playing. It's no like. It's just violin music playing. You can't really hear anything anyway. It's not like there's a talk or a description. So here they're just showing that there's the beams in focus right there. It comes down to a point, right? And then it goes back again. So you're finding that focal point at the smallest point is the focal point of where that